If you enjoy historical accuracy, well then you're absolutely gonna love this mod, since it offers one of the most historically accurate depictions of the 1444 start date, as well as a ton of new flavor to the base game itself. I am of course talking about Beyond Typus, and you probably noticed the first thing is that Europe is considerably smaller on the map compared to the rest of the continents. This is to show that, well, in reality, Europe is actually a lot smaller than it's depicted in the base EU4, and the political makeup of the map is very, very different from what we know. Starting from the English lands, you can see that the Isles actually have a lot more lands, as well as there's way more Irish minor nations than there are in the base game, and the English do not directly own Wales. They have it as a junior member under them, which is actually very historically accurate, since officially Wales was a junior partner of the English crown, much like England was a junior partner of the Scottish crown starting from the 18th century, which is what gave way for the United Kingdom, or the union between all of these various entities here. They also have the March of March as a March of England. Now this begs the question, of course, where did the March of March march during March? March. My brain works in mysterious ways, okay? Just don't judge it, okay? Don't judge it. We also have depicted here the Channel Isles, which are a march again of the English, and the Isle of Man, as well as we do have the holdings of the English in Ireland. I have to say though that the culture here being Old English, I'm not so sure about. I know that this area, namely the castle and the surroundings of the castle that were owned by the English, were actually English, obviously, but everything else around this area was Irish. So I'm not sure if it's fair to depict a minority as the majority in a province this big. If the province was this small, I understand. But if you're gonna depict the whole thing, why would you do this entire area as Old English? One more thing I have to say about this is that I'm not sure why Welsh in Britain is not a part of the same culture group as the rest of the Gaelic people here. I do enjoy seeing the Viceroyalty of Iceland as a vassal of the Danes from the beginning, ruled by Mr. Kirostivuri Olafur Amundsen. Nailed it! 10 out of 10 pronunciation. If I go missing, it's probably because I got assassinated by some Icelandic Viking assassins, okay? Just put it out there. One thing's for sure, Castile is definitely a lot stronger in this mod. It starts with about 40 more provinces, whilst the Portuguese have an extra 20-something provinces themselves. And if we look at the trade goods map mode, look at this, boys. We got 2 gold mines within the early reach of the Castilians. The French also start with the gold mine, as do the English in the northern part of England. And oh my god, what the hell is happening in Bohemia, man? Why does Bohemia have 7 gold mines? What? I mean, okay, I know that they were one of the leading producers of silver, but 7 gold mines? What? I have a feeling Austria's gonna get ridiculously rich. Another 3 gold mines in Hungary here, another 2 in Serbia, and 2 more in the Ottoman lands. Oh, 1 more even in Epirus, actually. So we can kind of say 5 in the Ottoman lands, because let's face it, this is gonna be Ottoman land very early on. Scratch that, make that 6, because Trebizond's got some gold as well. And there's more gold in the south of Sardinia and in the northern parts of Italy. Basically, there's a lot more gold in this game now than there ever was before. Plus, there's a lot of new trade goods. We have fruits as a trade good. We have beer, which offers local unrest -1. This makes sense. This is very, very accurate. Beer definitely does add -1 local unrest. And I think another trade good I've spotted is the honey over here, or apiculture as it's called. All right, and there's also books which are separate from paper. So we have both paper here and books in the other province, for example, for Aragon. And I have to say, for the late game, look at the amount of coal provinces that the English have. I have to say this is probably accurate because the English were one of the leading producers of coal during the early part of the Industrial Revolution. It's one of the reasons why England became so powerful after all. And pretty much the same thing for the German Empire. The Ruhr area had a massive amount of coal provinces. The Austrians are completely decimated here. We have Inner Austria that has Austria proper as a vassal, and it has a independence guarantee over Tyrol. I would say la creme de la creme is the Italian peninsula though. If we just take a quick look here, look at the amount of OPMs that we have. We even have the freaking city of Monaco, well, the nation of Monaco actually, that exists today, by the way. Tenda, Seva, Finale, we have so many of them, it's ridiculous. We even managed to get Benevento in Naples Naples, which was a holding of the Papal States in the southern part of Italy. And mad respect for the fact that they added this in. This just shows how much time they actually took to make it as historically accurate as possible, the map itself. There's even a special type of papal vassal, the autonomous papal state of the Papal States. For example, March over here, which is led by Francesco Sforza, that eventually would become the leader of the rebellion in Milano. You probably know this guy from the events, don't you? And then Milano, speaking of, has a ton of cores around everywhere. Look at this here. 5 cores on Venice, another 3 cores on Savoy. Also have to say that Sicily was not a part of Naples in 1444. Prior to the Aragonese conquest of the Neapolitan lands, these were basically ruled by the Norman Vikings that eventually conquered these lands from the Sicilian Muslims before them. But once the Aragonese conquered this, they kind of made it so that Sicily is a lot more separate from the rest of the Neapolitan crown to keep it in check. Essentially, they divided and conquered, more or less. Well, they already were conquered, so they divided in order to more easily govern, let's say. One thing that is really accurately depicted is the fact that Candia, Negropont, and Naxos are not directly owned by the Venetians and are just vassals of Venice. This is very, very well made, and historically speaking, these were in fact a lot more autonomous, and the Venetian Republic did not completely oversee everything that happened in these areas, but they did oversee usually wherever they had a significant fortification, like the ones that we have in Lepanto, Corone, and Argolide. You probably also noticed, but there can be up 10 provinces per state now. So for example, Thrace actually has 10 provinces, Peloponnese has 9 provinces, and so on. And that significantly changes the way that the game works, because that's a lot more provinces that get influenced, for example, by particular province-wide modifiers. You might have noticed Bulgaria being independent here as well. This is historical. The castle of Lovich was not conquered by the Ottomans in 1444. It's not a rebellion, by the way. It simply was just never conquered by them. It was the last holdout of the Bulgarians here, and eventually it did get conquered. But for some reason, the Ottomans have a core on this in this mod, as they do have cores on the Byzantines, whilst the Byzantines don't have cores on the Ottomans. I've talked to the mod developer, and he said that he did this in order for the Ottomans to attack Bulgaria first and finish them off, similarly to attack the Byzantines. So I kind of understand from that perspective, but it kind of makes the Byzantines really hard to play, or close to impossible to play for that matter. There is a sub mod, this mod, that actually boosts up the Byzantines a little bit, and I might check that out in the nearby future. Also in the south of Wallachia, we have the castle of Kule, or Turnu as we call it in Romanian, which is owned by the Ottomans. This is accurate. It was taken back by the Wallachians under the rule of Vlad Țepeș, or Dracula as you guys probably know him, in 1446, so that's 2 years afterwards. But in 1444, it's true, this was actually a part of the Ottomans. They used it as a foothold in Wallachia to make sure that the Wallachians are paying their tribute, and whenever they did not pay the tribute, the garrison in Turnu would come out, kill some people until they paid the tribute, essentially. They were medieval bullies, let's say. Since we are in the east, they've also added a lot more minor Russian nations here, and that's accurate. There was so many more smaller principalities in this area at the time. What I don't agree with is the fact that Muscovy is independent and they have all of these vassals, when the reality is that Muscovy in 1444 was still a tributary of the Great Horde. It still took them about 2 decades before they became actually independent, albeit according to historical records they were supposed to pay a tribute to the Great Horde, which in turn they collected from the other Russian principalities. But what the Muscovites used to do, they would keep the tribute from the other principalities and not pay it to the Great Horde, which eventually led to the Great Horde attacking them because they were pissed, and they lost the war, and that ended up giving the independence to the Muscovites. The Teutons also have a few more vassals at the start, as do the Livonians. One thing I have to say is that the city of Riga was a lot more autonomous, but the Archbishopric of Riga did indeed exist, and it had exactly these lines here as they are depicted, so much respect to how well they've actually managed to show the provinces in the game. The city itself of Riga would have been a lot more divided, however, from the rest of the Archbishopric lands. I can't see of any proper way of showing that in the games. My beloved Brandenburg also is a lot bigger. They have a few extra provinces. The city of Rupin is independent, so you have to take it back, of course. If you want to watch me play Brandenburg and take everything out and form Prussia, I've done this already on my Twitch channel, and you can find a link to the VODs on the second channel where I've uploaded that unedited, so you can see everything that happens in the description below. There are significantly more provinces in the HRE, and obviously they they've added a ton more nations here, but they didn't add as many as you would imagine because, you know, there's obviously a limit to how many you can actually add in here and make the game still playable. For example, Voltaire's Nightmare adds a lot more, and it is a little bit more historical, but it's unplayable, man. Like, you need a super NASA computer to play that, whilst this mod actually is playable. And speaking of playable, let's start our campaign as the Moldovans here and try and take back the Wallachian lands so we can form the nation of Romania, shall we? Don't be fooled by the amount of extra provinces we have. All of these are really low dev. We got 5, 4, 3. It's very low development, to be fair. So let's start with our estates here. We're going to give the +1 mana, of course. Minus 25 advisor cost reduction for all 3 estates as well. Patronage of the arts. Boyar border forts, which essentially make your forts ridiculously cheap to maintain. Let's see whatever agenda we get as well. Brandenburg opinion of us. Hell yeah, let's get some Brandenburgian allies, shall we? Take note, because the amount of income and manpower that you get from development is a lot less now, the cost of developing provinces is also cheaper. It's basically half of the default vanilla cost. We're going to dev this up twice. Then afterwards, we're going to sell titles. You have to dev up twice in order to actually be able to sell titles, in this mod at least. Then dev up a second time, and now we can seize crownlands. We're also going to hire the free company, and we're going to make both of our heir and our leader generals. They're both trash, sadly. 11th of December, and we're actually gonna no CB the nation of Wallachia. The reason we're doing this is because if I wait until I can actually get a claim on them, the chance of the Ottomans proclaim guaranteeing them are ridiculously high, and I don't want them to proclaim guarantee them, obviously. I don't need to fight the Ottomans right now. We will, however, be getting a spy network so we can get some siege ability in the nation of Wallachia for taking their forts a little bit faster. Let's kill off the Wallachian, shall we? We got a 2, they got a 0. This is just typical Romanian pips right there. Both Moldovans and Wallachians get horrible pips. This is historical, guys. You know what? I actually have issues with Pretender rebels, but the Pretender is gonna be way better than what I have right now. 311 with 210. So I'm just gonna actually let them enforce their demands. Oh, this is actually really good. We still have -2 stability. Let me actually boost up my stability a little bit, and then I can use this to get up to 0. Nice. Okay, seriously, these guys are the world's worst rebels ever. They almost finished taking the capital, and they just randomly decided to abandon that and go to the next province next to them. Are you kidding me right now? I actually want you to enforce, guys. Also, I've seen a few things in this area that made me cringe a little bit as a Romanian. I do like the fact that Wallachia actually has cores on the Dobroja part and the provinces that the Ottomans took, because technically these were taken from Wallachia relatively few years before the start date here. In the early 1400s, these were actually lands that belonged directly to the Wallachian crown. On that note, however, I have to say that August Turkish here does not make any sense. Like, this was not Turkish at all in 1448. If anything, I would make it more Bulgarian. There was a Turkish minority, but that was a minority, not a majority in these areas. Similarly here, Târgoviște had a German minority in the city of Târgoviște, not the entire region. So making this province and this province Germanic in Wallachia in 1444 because there was a minority of Germans triggers me really a lot, because it's like making London Hindu culture in 2022 because there's a Indian minority. Doesn't make sense, does it? And the same exact thing over here with the Namts and Bako. They were not a majority Kasango. There were minorities of these people here. But that aside, it does make the game a lot more interesting, and it gives a little bit of extra flavor, I guess. So it is forgiven because it does make the game interesting, especially after I get to convert them to the real culture that they had in 1444. Oh, look at that. The Ottomans actually did attack the Bulgarians in the reconquest of Lovish. So it did work. Giving the Ottomans a core in this, it did make them prioritize attacking Bulgaria first, I guess. The Venetians are eating up the nation of Epirus also. That's really good, especially since Epirus has the gold mine in the province of Zacinto. Also have to say that 10 out of 10 when it comes to the political borders of Moldova in 1444. Hotin and Chernowitz were a part of Moldova in the start date. and that is not shown as such in the base EU4 game. And that's just really sad in my opinion. It's also one of the reasons I really enjoy playing this mod. Despite certain really minor inaccuracies, overall, I would say that 90% of this mod is pretty accurate and makes a lot of sense, historically speaking, let's say. Come on, boys, 28%. Can I get the fort? Cannot, Ludi. Cannot get the fort. Can we get it on the second attempt? No, cannot get it on the second attempt either. Oh, what? End of Styrian control over Ladislaus. Whoa, I did not see this coming. This is actually historical, man. Wow, they actually scripted this in. That's awesome. My respect just went through the roof for this modding team. Awesome work, dudes. Honestly, awesome work. So, if you don't know, what historically happened was János Hunyadi actually became the regent of Hungary after the crusade of Varna failed and the leader of Hungary died. And he actually put his son, Matthias Corvinus, as the king of Hungary, despite the fact that Ladislaus Posthumus was supposed to be the king of Hungary. You see this actually happen in the game. It's actually a percentage of it happening. It's like 50-50. Either the Austrians get the Hungarian crown or Matthias becomes the leader. But historically speaking, Matthias became the new king of Hungary. And these guys are really pissing me off because they keep going from one province to another, not sieging this down. So I'm just gonna kill them. Similarly, I'll kill the last of the Wallachians. Bye-bye, ski boys. And that means we can also all of Wallachia. We got a coalition of Byzantium and Serbia. Who cares about Serbia, boys? Who cares about I don't care about Serbia. I don't. I just don't, okay? Hey, unite the Voyevodski. Nice, we get a core on Turda and Giurgiu. This did boost up our crown lands to 11% though. And in classic EU4 fashion, the Ottomans did not annex the Bulgarians. They literally just got a peace with them for 15 years, but did not annex them. Big brain. Boom brain for the Ottomans right now. Hungary also just came out of a massive war against the Bohemians, and they got 0 manpower. But then again, I also don't have much manpower, do I? So if only there was such a thing as loans. If only there were loans, so we can loan up and get a mercenary company. Let's actually take a deeper look at the cultural map mode of this mod. First thing that comes to my attention is the fact that we have both Low Silesian and High Silesian. The High Silesian being a part of the West Slavic group and the Low Silesian a part of the Germanic group. This is really accurate. Essentially, the Silesian lands did start getting converted to Germanic, with Schlesian being the Germanic version of Silesians and the Old Silesians being the original Silesians. We also have the Sorbian lands mixed in with High Saxon. Sorbians still exist today, but they're a minority. In 1444, they would have been the majority in this area, however, so that's pretty accurate. Same thing here with Kashubians and Pomeranians mixing in and Prussians coming in as well. I have to say that the Romansh language and by extension culture would be a little bit different from the main Italian branch, with the Romansh, Ladin, and Friulian being in a separate language group, and for that matter, Romanian would be cataloged as East Romance, not Dacian. And you need to listen to this because the percentage of Dacian in the Romanian language is less than 0.2%. There's more German words in Romanian than there are Dacian words. It makes no sense to have this culture as Dacian. Eastern Romance is the official name of the branch of Latin that Romanian is a part of, and it includes a Romanian, as you can see here, Istro-Romanian, which would be in this area, Megleno-Romanian, and Dalmatian, which we have in EU4, but Dalmatian in EU4 is a part of the Latin group. We actually have it here in the mod. Since we are looking at the cultural map mode, the Anatolian part is a lot better than the vanilla version, that's for sure. We have Cappadocian, a lot more Pontic, Armenians better depicted, including the Silesian Armenians. I don't know why this is Turkic. This should not be Turkic. Antioch was never, ever Turkic, ever. It makes no sense to make Antioch Turkic. And the coastline, especially the west coastline of Anatolia, would have had a lot more Greek, especially in the cities. It would have been a lot more Greek rather than Turkic. But other than that, really well done compared to the vanilla version of the Anatolian map. And I'm happy to see that there's also Coptic in the Egyptian parts. As some of you probably know, before the Arab conquest of Egypt, there were people there, of course, and those people were not 100% on board and converted to Islam by 1444. In fact, probably around 30% of them were still following the Coptic version of Christianity and still had their own unique identity and culture. Really well done the fact that they put Basque separate from everything else and Albanian as well. These groups are indeed separate. They're not a part of Slavic or anything of the sorts. I'm not sure what I can say about this situation with Illyrian here. I would say that they were a minority and far from being a majority in any of these provinces. Same thing goes for a Romanian here. They did exist, that is true, but they were a significant minority compared to the majority of the lands being Greek. And especially for the a Romanians, they mostly lived around the hills and the mountains where they acted as shepherds, and they are descended from the Roman-speaking peoples of the Roman Empire prior to the collapse of the empire and the switch to the Greek language in the Eastern Roman Empire. The Finnish language being in the same group with Estonian, Karelian, and Sapmi is also really well done. They are essentially very similar as a whole. And Hungarian, despite its origin being descended from the Finno-Ugric language group, it should not be in the same culture group, obviously, because they were separated for more than 1,000 years. But they do have their own group here that apparently includes Cuman and obviously Zecular and Kasango. Cumans, however, were not Hungarians. They are a Turkic people, and if you do a very quick Google search, you'll find that Cumans were running away from various migrating people. They did settle in Hungary, and they were used as mercenaries by the Hungarians and were also assimilated into the Hungarian majority ethnic group. But having Cuman as a part of the Hungarian group is debatable because they did speak a completely different language, had completely different customs. Oh my god, what's happening here, man? Look at this. Florence is completely obliterating the Papal States in Siena. Oh, sorry, Genoa in Siena with March. Wow. They're actually killing them off, man. They got 11,000. Not that many, but they're definitely doing a great job over here. Well, if it's not the Sorbian separatists, and I assume Transylvanian separatists as well, looks like Hungary's not super well centralized just yet. Might be a bit of an opportunity for us. They're also allied to Freising, and what the schnapps is up with this flag? Is this the actual flag of Freising? I highly doubt this, man. If that's the actual flag of Freising, I'm gonna eat a Vienna Schnitzel in front of you guys. So let me know in the comment section if it is or not. I'm curious now. People of Freising, inform me, please. You know what, boys? Let's go full on in. Sell the titles. Get the burger loans, 5 of them. And let's get some mercenaries so we can attack the Hungarians. Let's get the Haiduks, the independent Cossacks, and the Krabats as well. It's everything or nothing, okay? Or as normal people would say, all or nothing, I assume. Let's go! Let's go, everybody! It's time to take back Transylvania. I just realized the Hungarians got like 100 freaking forts. I don't think this is gonna end up well for me. Ah, yes. Why not have some rebels exactly now when I'm struggling with the war? Oh, would you look at that, boys? They actually recruited the Levants. So they are in need of mercenaries. What? I haven't even fought them yet. The 3 siege general from the independent Cossack host is massively helping, not gonna lie. Take that, ya filthy Croatians. Wait a second, is it just me or is this actually the amount of lands I need to form modern day Romania? And the borders actually look like modern day Romania. Oh my god, I love this mod so much. Now I'm going for this war deal, okay? I'm not stopping. I don't mind going bankrupt afterwards. That would just be role-playing Romania today, okay? Jesus, mother of god, the amount of war exhaustion I have. I'm gonna have to waste some of my dual points on this. Are you freaking kidding me? This fort did not fall at 64. I bet this one's gonna fall at 28% though. Of course it did. Of course it freaking did. Finally, this one fell as well. Let's go take care of their army now. By the way, here's a really important tip. Whenever this happens, after the enemy takes a fort, the garrison is gonna be very small, and whenever the garrison is below 100, then you automatically take that fort after 1 tick has passed. In my case, they're up to 160, but after a few ticks, if I'm lucky enough, it's gonna decrease the garrison below 100 and I can take the fort a lot faster. Or if I crack the walls, I just assault and take it almost instantly. Let's actually focus on their ally of Freising so we take him out of the war. They got 4,000 units. I don't want to have to deal with these units. Oh, I just realized Freising actually has 4 provinces. What? And as I expected, they are okay with piecing me out after I just started sieging their capital down. Which means that little old Croatia Russia is all by themselves here with Freising out of the war. This is what we call big brain, guys. This is what we call big brain right here. And guess what? We actually can do a deal with them. 107, 103. We only get a coalition of certain minor nations. Oh, Poland. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But still, it's worth it. Can we get some money as well? We can get a little bit of money. There you go, boys. There you go. We got a modern Romanian border right here, with the exception of the Turkic lands, of course. But still, amazing borders. Oh, man, this warms my heart seeing this. If only Romania actually unified this early in history, would have been amazing. And of course, we've reached the maximum amount of loans that we can take, which means we're gonna go bankrupt soon. So, as I said, a pretty typical historical Romanian run. We just need like 20 extra corruption, and that is perfect representation of modern day Romania. Bankrupt, corrupt nation. Time to disband all of the mercenary companies now and just leave the ones that actually would make a bit of a difference. I'm gonna disband these guys as well, bring the main army home as well. And I mean, I guess we can extend our lifeline by getting some corruption, am I right? We might as well fully LARP Romania here, guys. Whoa, what? Muscovy wants to be our ally? Schnapple Dapple, yes, sir. Schnapple Dapple, yes. And hello claims on all of Bulgaria here. They're permanent claims, by the way, from the Order of the Dragon. Also, we actually have a border with Serbia now, so we can technically expand into these areas as well. Oh, Lord, this is amazing. So remember, 10,000 likes and we'll do the Byzantine run. And check out this awesome Castile video until we meet next time. And I want to give a very big thank you to all of my channel members, Patreon members, as well as my Twitch supporters. I really wouldn't be able to do this without all of your support.